Now, without further ado, the moment so many of us have been waiting for, the Innovators Pitch, and here to tell you all about it is a brand new, sparkling fresh moderator, Julia Gulholtz. Give it up for Julia.
Thank you very much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome, everybody, ein herzliches Willkommen at Hub Berlin, at Funkhaus Berlin. Lovely, lovely weather, 27 degrees, maybe a little too hot. But when it comes to the weather, we've always got something to nag about, no? Yeah, we do. Okay, so you see to the right, there's the band. They're basically swirling around. They're building up their set. So we're gonna have some music to get the spirit on, basically. I am actually seeing some very content faces. Yes. Smiling gentleman, smiling lady. So I'm guessing you've had an exceptional day so far. And had the chance to dive into some latest insights. I hope you've had some great networking opportunities, some very inspiring talks, and here we are, which is the last event of the day, which is Bitkom's Innovators Pitch. So I see that the band is they're still working on it. So maybe we can get a little groove going and actually welcome the Innovators Pitch. So maybe you can applaud for once and we can be like, yes, this is Bitkom's Innovators Pitch. What is this? It is Bitkom's path-breaking competition for early-stage startups in Europe. And many, many startups have applied. Up here on stage will be the most outstanding 6. So the startup will come up on stage, they will pitch their idea in front of a high-level jury, and then in the end the jury will convene, they will talk, they will say, the startup, they were the best, and then they will tell us who the winners are. So let's get into the details. So everybody of you actually understands how this works. It is very simple, don't be scared. We have 2 categories. Number 1 category is cybersecurity, and number 2 is enterprise analytics. So, as I've said, a startup will be up here on stage, and they will pitch their idea. Now, they've only got 3 minutes to pitch their idea, no longer. So 3 minutes time to impress the jury. After the pitch, there is a short question and answer round with the jury. They will be there. I'm always showing that way. No, the jury will be sitting here. The pitcher will be here, and they will be facing the jury, and the jury has a chance to ask questions, and the pitcher has the chance to say, hey, my startup is the best one. After these 3 minutes, next pitcher comes up. How's it going? Thumbs up. Good. So, people, the prize, importantly, the prize is 5,000 euro in cash for each winner, a free Bitkom Get Started membership, and the opportunity to meet some top-notch potential business partners and investors. Every one of you has their phone right there, so basically everybody. Yeah. You can note the hashtags are Hub Berlin and IP22. How's the music going? Oh yes, we can hear something, great. So then we can actually say a huge thank you before we start to our partners. Can we make some music? Woo! So thanks for making this possible. Cloudflare and SAPIO are our partners. And thanks also to the show band Neukölln for providing the right kind of spirit for this competition, for Bitkom's Innovators Pitch. Now, we are ready for our first category. Up there, you can see cybersecurity, and we have prepared a little introduction video for you, thanks to our partner Cloudflare. So all eyes on the screen. Here we go.
The internet is the lifeblood of businesses, and is also the primary vehicle for all commerce and also communication for all the people around the world. But the internet has not been designed to deliver performance, reliability, and security. Cloudflare's mission is to help to build a better internet, which is more performant, which is more reliable, and which is also more secure. Therefore, cybersecurity is a core competency of Cloudflare. Cloudflare understands the challenges of a startup very well, because Cloudflare has been one of them not too long ago. We are very excited to see young entrepreneurs presenting their innovative solutions to address the challenges of security in a digital world.
So, our first category is cybersecurity. Jury head is Stefan Henke, who is also the head of DACH Cloudflare. Round of applause, please. Thank you.
Hello, Julia.
Hi. So, Stefan Henke, you are the jury head. Your experience in the field of cybersecurity, is that still one of those fields that is brutally being underestimated? If so, how so, and what is it like?
Yeah, so we have seen a massive increase in cyber attacks over the last 2 years, and especially since beginning of this year. Just 4 weeks ago, we have mitigated one of the biggest DDoS attacks we have ever seen, with 26 million requests per second. And we block around 117 billion cyber threats for our customers every day. But the companies are not prepared for those kind of attacks, because they still rely on old hardware solutions, and only the minority has implemented a zero trust solution so far.
Now, you are the jury head, Stefan Henke. We will have startups up here on stage pitching their ideas. What will impress you?
I'm looking forward to very innovative solutions, for sure, disruptive solutions, which will help to keep data confidential and safe, and ensure also that the transactions on the web are secured.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Stefan Henke. Please already have a seat.
Thanks.
Thanks. And now I will ask the rest of the jury up on stage, because as you can see, two seats are still free. So please, Simran Mann, Security Policy Officer at Bitkom. A round of applause. And Dr. Simon Vogt, Vice President at der Agentur für Innovation in der Cybersicherheit. Thank you very much for being here. So everybody, maybe your situation is similar to mine. If I look through my phone message section, I've got all those random passwords, 64, and you know those. Bank account safety codes, tons of safety codes every time I log into my remote computer when working at home. It is getting on my nerves, but yes, I know it is necessary, because relying solely on passwords, we all know, is no longer up to date. Now, there are some very smart people out there saying yes, two-factor authentication is the future of IT security, but people, it can be much easier, and it can be much less disruptive. So please, get those hands together. From Saarbrücken, the southwest of Germany, Nils Vossebein, the founder of DeepSign. Woo! 3 minutes, starting now. Good luck.
Thank you. So, when most people think about IT security, they think about something like this. But that's not the biggest issue, because you can be accused of having done something. But when you say, no, that wasn't me, your administrator will show you this, a log file, and says, see here, it was you, we have you. Well, that's not 100% correct. So yes, it was your account. Yes, it was your online identity, but your online identity is used by someone else. And maybe he's doing bad things with it. So my name is Niels, and we at DeepSign, we ask, why can this happen? Why can this happen? Because the question is, why isn't security easy to use? Why can it happen that my account is used by someone else? Well, either I used a weak password, either I have to remember many strong passwords so I may reuse them, or maybe I'm annoyed of using these unproductive and very annoying two-factor authentications. So we thought, let's dream of security. What should it be? Well, I shouldn't have to remember anything. No codes, no physical hardware. I don't want to have to do any extra steps. I just want to use my identity. And I want to use it my way. I don't want to have to follow any additional rules. Good thing is, dreams can become true. And it doesn't have to be magic. It just has to be a revolutionary AI. A revolutionary AI that verifies all your interactions, so how you move your mouse around and how you type. And it does this not once, but every second. So you're not secure after you log in, but you're secure all the time. We call it the anyway there factor, because, well, you have to do it anyway. You have to interact with your computer anyway. So nothing additional, nothing to remember, nothing to lose, and nothing that requires you to change. Well, with security, there's privacy. So we follow a privacy-first approach, meaning that no one can read what you write, no one can track when or how good you're working, and best of all, you have full control over all your data. So with DeepSign, you can have easy-to-use security, because we have the anyway there factor.
Niels Vossebein from DeepSign. Now you can turn right over to the jury. 3 minutes, question and answer round starting now.
So Niels, many thanks for your presentation. To my best knowledge, I think your technology is based on the fact that there is a unique usage of a keyboard and a mouse.
A bit like a fingerprint, so generating a digital fingerprint based off your interactions.
Does this also work if you access an application or a website via mobile phone?
Yes, so we can fully like on the client. It can be virtual. It can be kind of a hard hardware client. That's all in there. We just use what the keyboard is giving us, and therefore we can generate the fingerprint.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Can you tell me what the accuracy rate is?
Good question. Hard to answer because obviously we're doing it continuously. So not only once, when you think about your fingerprint on your mobile phone and you think about how often you're annoyed that you have to do it twice or more times. So we are in studies and pilots. So within about 10 interactions, with 99.9% accuracy of the real user. We have in these 10 interactions over 80% of all attackers, about 20 interactions with getting all the attackers. You can obviously choose between security and comfort and easiness of useness. So you can also say, okay, this is a very, very important file, so security must be very high. And maybe there's a misidentification of the real user, but on the other hand, you can also say, okay, I want to have best possible security, but with this amount of interference with our processes.
Okay, and one question for me is the approach of behavior-based authentication. I think I've read it first in 2015 from the Google Abacus project. they wanted to develop something like this for Android, but I think it never really got to market because of fingerprints and face authentication. Why do you still think that it's worth the bet?
So why not face and fingerprints?
So why do you think that your approach of behavior-based authentication is better than the approaches that have been tried before but never really got there?
Okay, so we actually focus on the customer, so on the company who is actually using it and can integrate with all the CIAMs out there, all the other services they are already using, and also maybe integrating into other applications. So it makes really easy for the company itself. So we are not targeting a developer team who say, hey, integrate it in your service, and then you have more happy customers. We say, no, that's job of the company that want to be secured and have to have high productivity. And that's kind of the twitch in it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Time's up, I guess.
That was right on time. Thank you very much. Niels Fossebein from DeepSign. A big round of applause. See you later. Thanks to the jury for now. Is everybody ready for the next pitch? Yep, okay. So how many of you have already said, no, I will not share my data, or no, I will not share my information? You don't have to raise your hand. We're not in school, but you can nod. Yeah, I see some nods. No, I will not share my data, a frequently used statement. Why? Well, because pretty obvious, we're scared, we don't want to share or reveal what is precious to us. A startup founded in the year 2019, situated in Erfurt, in the middle of Germany, has developed a technology that creates trust when sensitive data is handed over. Now, may I please welcome Steffen Holly from Psoido on stage. A big round of applause, please.
Hello, I'm Scholli from Psoido. Everyone wants to raise a treasure once. But studies say more than 80% of the companies are not raising their data treasures because of fear. Fear of losing company know-how, losing customer data, fear of fines. With Psoido, we are raising these data treasures because decoupled and non-traceable ideas and anonymous data can be used outside of GDPR, allow the usage for better and secure data investments, for more added value, and of course for compliance. The problem which affects us all is the data sovereignty of fitness and health data. Psoido connects the non-traceable ID of users and their anonymous data, transfers this securely and encrypted to dedicated doctors, researchers, and to health records. And even for Psoido or Apple, it's not possible to re-identify the original ID. Our superpower comes from a patent, authentication without identification. And combined with a new adaptive anonymization, we want to show both that data analysis and data privacy is possible in both ways. So our service, we can deliver the non-traceable IDs as well as the anonymization in a software as a service. We charge per use, and it's very flexible. You can use it on premises and in clouds. The market for data protection as a service is expected to grow until 2025 to 100 billion euro. And the main markets are driven by increasing user awareness and regulations, just like GDPR and CCPA. And even China is copying that. So we want to prove that maximum data utility and privacy is possible to reach more sustainable mobility with the connected mobility devices and to secure health, finance, and energy data. We are a complementary team, and we are passionately fight for the compatibility of data analysis and privacy. If you want to be part of this adventure, please contact us. Thank you.
Stefan Holly from Psoido. After the pitch comes the trial.
Yeah, many thanks, Stefan, for the great pitch. IP addresses are also seen as personal data in regards to GDPR. Is this also a use case for you?
Yes, it's definitely the use case, but I have mentioned also, or it was written, it is also possible to secure data from sensors and devices. They also have ideas in our world, and we have to decouple devices and sensors as well as persons. So we can use this for logistics as well, where you have parcels, addresses, something like that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Maybe you can explain in 2 or 3 sentences how your backend works, because from what I understood is that if I have health data on my phone, that gets transmitted to Psoido, and there I get the untraceable ID. But in that case, I would still have to trust you, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain on this a little.
Yeah, explaining a patent in 2 or 1 sentence is very complicated, especially I'm not the inventor of that patent, but in general, you can do anonymous registration or a pseudonymous registration. And we make the pseudonym anonymous. And that is non-traceable with this process when we decouple that. That is described in the patent, and that's why you can use it in so many ways if you are interested into hiding or securing the privacy of the device or the users. If you don't have interest in that, then we are not a solution. But if you have interested in hiding the privacy and related information, then possibly that could work. So we are making a pseudonym anonymous.
So, all questions answered so far? Yeah? Stefan Holly from Psoido. A big round of applause, please. Thank you very much. And now we are heading right over to the last contestant of cybersecurity. So this startup puts all its energy into quantum technology, a class of technology that works by using the physics of subatomic particles. Now, this might make your head spin. It did spin mine, I have to admit, because I wasn't the best in physics class. While this gentleman, who is shortly up on stage, he holds a PhD in physics and is the CEO of Quantum Optics Jena, founded in 2020, and who is absolutely confident that beyond classical solutions, quantum technology can provide the best answers for secure communication. So, a huge round of applause for Dr. Kevin Füchsel from Quantum Optics.
Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, Berlin. Many thanks for the introduction. Yeah, my talk is about quantum physics, and I like to show you how we use quantum physics to revolutionize cybersecurity and cryptography. So it's somehow in our DNA that we want to communicate securely with each other. You all know this. Remember back to school, you're whispering something to your neighbor to make sure that the teacher doesn't have a clue about this. But what if you want to share information over kilometers? So in cryptography and cybersecurity, we're facing 2 challenges. One challenge is you cannot be sure that the key you're using for encryption is actually, there's smart people or smart technology which can compromise your technology. And the second thing is you have to think about a way to bring the keys to 2 persons at the end. At the moment, we're using this public-private key exchange mechanism mostly. So the hacker-defender game we know since decades. What about if I tell you that there is a solution with quantum physics? So we use a quantum physical process to generate keys without any mathematics. It's just the interaction between laser and material. But it's getting even better. We're sending these keys in terms of entangled photons. So entanglement is quite strange. So I give you an example with twins. So think about two twins. We entangle the eyes of the twins in terms of the color. Blue is 1, brown is 0. And then we put them to the middle of the room. They're crawling to mom and dad. And only if they measure the eye, or look into the eye, the quantum state will be defined. So now we're generating millions of photons each second and using this to generate or to send the keys to mom and dad. If there is an Eve, if there's a mighty Eve disturbing the kid will cry like hell. And we will see this in our quantum protocol and make sure that the key you actually send is safely sent. So I'm very proud to be here and tell you that we delivered the first European commercial entanglement QKD, quantum key distribution system, last week to our customer. So it's very unique. We have a lot of engineering. So to give you a side, this is our entanglement photon source. If you're interested, come by later on. It's a plug-and-play device, and we are happy to secure your infrastructure in the future.
Again, thank you so much. Based on your knowledge, when do you expect that the currently and frequently used encryption methods will become a safety risk based on the availability of quantum computers?
So the issue is you have to do it now, because if you send data now, you cannot be sure that in 5 or 10 years somebody else is able to compromise your data. So actually we have to act right now. We have to do something about this. I hope the quantum computer will scale up quite soon, that even our technology has to be implemented much faster.
What differentiates you from other startups?
Since the beginning, we focus on entanglement. And at least in Europe, there is no other company like us building up entanglement-based quantum key distribution systems with the whole chain of process. So from hardware to software to protocol to security. So that's our USP, if you want. And also automation of the fabrication. So we don't have to do it via hand. We have machines to fabricate our hardware at the end.
Who do you target as customers? Is it private people, companies, or system integrators? Like on which technology readiness level also do you assess them?
Yeah. So at the moment, we see a lot of interest at the beginning of academia, because they are now looking into what can I do with such a device. The next level is securing governmental structures. So we have a lot of attention now from the government how to do this. But we also have applications where we secure a so-called health kiosk. So if you think about going to a village, implementing there one of our devices, connecting it to a hospital, because there's a huge problem with securing data, health data, and this is a way to really be sure it's safe to send it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kevin Fritze from Quantum Optics. And thanks to our jury, we have completed our first field, cybersecurity, our first category, so thank you very much. Stefan Henke, a big round of applause. Simran Mann and Dr. Simon Vogt. I'll see you all later. Thank you very much. So yes, we have completed our first category, cybersecurity, and are heading to the next category, which is enterprise analytics. And therefore, we will also show a short introduction video. It's up there, so eyes up on the screen.
The events of the past 2 years and also the current state of the businesses have exposed more than ever before the importance of the enterprise analytics. The challenges of the supply chain, the realities of consumers' expectations, and also the deep concern over sustainability is basically all drivers to make us revisit the idea of analytics in the enterprise sector more seriously. It's about helping startups scale, meaning that we at SAP.io look at working with startups in an open innovation manner, meaning that we love to work with startups from different industries and from different line of businesses. And with the startup solutions and external innovation, we like to kind of create an open innovation ecosystem around our own offerings. We love to see new technologies, new business model, new innovations, and very much looking forward to be part of the Innovators Pitch and also get the opportunity to see the rising stars in the analytics space.
I would like to welcome the lovely lady we have just seen in the video in live, Azadeh Rarai on stage. Please, a big round of applause, Director of SAP.io Foundry Berlin.
Hi, thank you for the intro. Likewise.
Thanks for being here. You are today's jury head.
Yes, happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. What are the biggest obstacles in enterprise analytics that firms, that companies are facing? What is your experience?
So it's all about the data. In the past 10 years, we have been hearing about the opportunities that data provide to businesses. But the other side is that still enterprises, a lot of enterprises, are not able to fully use the potentials of the data in their organizations. And it starts from placing the data in their organization, where the data is, how to store the data, and basically the amount of the time that they need to spend for data management, being data integration, data synchronization, data cleaning, so that they are able to basically extract insight from the data. And the challenge comes even after, when there is data analytics and insight, how to incorporate it into business processes. So depending on where you are in your data strategy journey, there's always a challenge ahead. Plus, don't forget, as we have had the panel before, owning data has its own risk when it comes to data privacy and data security as well. So I would say the challenge is multifaceted, but there's also technology. So we are probably good to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now you're the head of the jury, and we have the pitchers up on stage. They will be trying to blow your mind. What are the three things, if you'd have to break it down to three, that you are looking for?
So we are working with startups day in, day out, and we see a wildly successful startup. So I would say team, team, team. That's what a lot of VCs say, but I think really having a strong team that shares the same values and they believe in why they want to do this, how they want to do this, and what they need to do to get there is really important. Plus, having agility to be able to change your product, your business model, given the situation, and also listen to your customers is the most important factors for a successful startup.
Thank you very much, Azadeh Rarai. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
And now I would like to welcome the rest of the jury in the category Enterprise Analytics on board. Please, a big round of applause to Dr. Tanja Emmerling, partner at High-Tech Gründerfonds. And Moritz Zimmermann, general partner at 42 Cap. A big round of applause. So everybody, imagine a large company with hundreds of workers, with different departments, with tons of different shifts. It is actually pretty easy to lose track. On average, each worker spends 2 to 3 hours searching per day. It's pretty ineffective, right? A startup based in Berlin has developed special interactive maps. The idea has been there for quite a while, but it was not until 2020 that the idea seemed ripe enough to actually make this, to turn this startup into something big, and now it's ready. Formation. Please welcome Jan Lachenmeier, COO at Formation. 3 minutes pitch. After you say hi. Good luck.
Let's talk about digitalization and your staff, your workers. We have a shortage of staff across industries, ranging from events to airports to manufacturing, which means they have to do more in less time. And in order to be successful, They need the right information at the right time, at the right spot. We digitalize your business using maps. My name is Jan Lachenmeier. I'm one of the founders of Formation. Why maps? Because maps are intuitive and easy to use. In the hands of your workers and your management, they become right away actionable. Our superpower number one is private and secure maps. On the left-hand side, you see the public maps of a US company. And there's not much information out there that is relevant for your company. And it's good this way, because on the right-hand side, you see what we do. We create maps, indoor and outdoor, and putting it in the hands of your team. Now, they add points of interest, meetings, assign tasks to colleagues, get machine data. So basically, everything that you can imagine that makes everyday work easier. Our superpower number two. There are a lot of location technologies out there. But it takes weeks and if not months in order to make them running. And we found a way to roll it out within less than a day, getting it into the hands of the workers. And from there, we start to expand and add modules depending on your demand. Now imagine this runs 24/7. You gain a lot of knowledge around your location, the machines, how tools are being booked. So this is a vast data set. We call this a symphony of location data. And we analyze this data for your company to find efficiencies, to reduce costs, and ultimately to increase the profits. And through this, we make you a location data-powered company. That's a company that stays ahead of the curve and before the competitors. We operate across industries, the Mittelstand as much as enterprise, and even the German army. We do an innovation initiative with the German army. So if you have a large workplace, maybe a big office, you have working teams, you have machines, or you have tools, you have tasks that you have to operate, then we help you to digitalize. Easy, intuitive, making workers' everyday tasks easier, making management more efficient, making the workplace more engaging, and your company a location data-driven company.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Can you tell a bit more about your business case and what's the price point customers are willing to pay?
Okay. So we have two segments. We have a base segment, which is the location box that we roll out, and that's an average of 30K annual license, which is limited to a certain amount of users and a certain space. And then we have a high-end segment, which is 100K upwards annual recurring, which is more enterprise and customized. So that's, again, average.
Thank you for the presentation. So my question would be when it comes to enterprise customer, what is a typical use case that you work with enterprise customers?
It's my favorite question because we are horizontal, so there are many different use cases, which means in the manufacturing space, a use case might be there are machines, there are the workers that have to interact with the machines, and they have to get the material that comes out of the machines and have to store it. So that would be a very production-driven space. We do the same now in event space like this. There's a shortage of staff, so very different use case, but they use the map as well. So it's about like getting points of interest, manage the team, find places, use the space in an efficient way. So different use case. So answer short, it depends. Okay. Because the general principle is the same. It's the map. There are people, places, and things, and we make them actionable.
Do you actually have a targeted industry like manufacturing or events?
We have customers in manufacturing. We have the German Bundeswehr as a customer. Okay. So we operate there where it's for us easy. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question regarding your tech, your product. So actually, I think there's another thing that is just as important as the map, which is actually the precise location where you are. And outside, we have, we all know it, we use it every day. We have GPS that tells us this, and maybe a couple other things. But indoors, in factories and buildings, it's actually very, very difficult to accurately pinpoint the location. So I'd be interested to hear how you've solved that.
Yeah. Two answers. The first answer is, we were thinking the same way in the beginning, and that was like a painful learning over many years, because it is more important to get the map going and the workers use it, and then think about, okay, what are modules to add on and make it more precise. We also thought the other way around, but then you end up in consulting projects and define technologies. So that's the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer then is, if the system is running, of course you want to look, okay, we want to have a precise locating, and then we have to talk, what is it exactly that you need? How precise does it need to be? Do you want to have it centimeter accurate? Do you want to have it all time? Or is it meter accurate enough and it's not all time? It's a cost factor, right? The latter one is more expensive. The first one is probably, there are cheaper solutions. How we do it? We have an ecosystem of partners. They have cutting-edge technologies as solutions, from UVB to beacons to you name them, and we pick the solution that is best depending on our customer's need.
That was on time. Thank you very much, Jan Lachenmeier from Formation. Contestant number 2 in the category Enterprise Analytics. 4 computer science graduates got together in Augsburg, one of the oldest cities in Germany, and founded something new. Cubilon came into existence in 2019. Now, large firms have a very large IT infrastructure, and therefore one might not know what has been invested already, what has been bought, what tools do the other ones use. So lots of question marks, and Cubilon provides the answers. Please welcome Dr. Thomas Driesen from Cubilon up on stage. A big round of applause.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Thomas. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Cubilon. And today, I want to talk about decisions. Decisions are usually a process where you need data, recommendations, and a small portion of gut feel. However, current IT leaders of medium and large enterprises usually lack the first two when they are making decisions for their IT landscape. And when IT leaders make bad decisions, then bad IT things will happen, like they did for Buchbinder, MasterCard, or Fendt. So why is it so hard to make good IT decisions? Well, first, the managed IT landscapes have grown exponentially over the last decade to a now unmanageable complexity. And second, the IT professionals who usually should document that exact IT landscape are either rare or they are occupied with firefighting instead of documenting. And this lack of knowledge, the lack of IT professionals, and the sheer size of current IT landscapes is what makes good IT decisions so damn hard. And that's why we built Cubilon. Cubilon is a graph analytics and automation platform for hybrid IT landscapes. That means we automatically scrape all the existing knowledge of your IT and turn it into an analyzable knowledge graph. On top of that, we offer a no-code graph analytics platform that enables even your non-technical staff to easily answer questions like, what are my main cost drivers, up to what network segments do I have to shut down if a specific PC got compromised. And finally, those questions can then be added to our ever-growing collection of predefined reports that help you to instantly reuse the knowledge of hundreds of other IT professionals. This solution is currently battle-proven with IT landscapes from hidden champions like KTR Systems up to the humongous IT landscapes the likes BMW has to offer. And with Cubilon, our customers were able to free thousands of hours of labor time that have been bound by tasks like manual data acquisition. They were able to capture their own IT knowledge or reuse the IT knowledge of hundreds of other IT professionals. And they were finally able to make good data-driven decisions for their IT landscape. But enough about the tool and more about the team and the four founders. We founded Cubilon based on the idea of Melanie's PhD thesis out of university. This year, we closed our seed funding round, and right now, we already have grown to a team of 12 highly dedicated people. And if you also want to be part of our success story, then join us. We are currently looking for strong partners that help us to further improve Cubalon and finally make IT decisions easy again. Thank you.
Should I go first? Okay, thank you. I have a question. When you were presenting what you guys do, I think it was on the third slide or something like this. There are companies. Can you hear me?
No, not really. I'm sorry. I come a little bit over here, so maybe.
You were explaining the different solutions that you have and the services that you offer. And there are, I think, other startups or the technologies that is focusing on every of these like verticals that you presented. What is your USP doing like multiple services?
Our USP is, on the one hand, that we combine the IT knowledge about cloud landscapes and about the on-premise landscape. So we can offer a complete view over everything that runs in your company and in the cloud.
Okay, so you will have like third-party data including as well?
Pardon?
Third-party data or outside organization data as well?
So we are using third-party data and we combine it to an extensive knowledge base. So the key point is that we combine the data of different data silos to one view on your whole IT.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I would love to understand a little bit the why now question and your answer to that. Sort of like, you know, enterprise IT has been around forever, certainly for longer than I am on this planet. And it's been expensive and complex and so on. That's always been the case. So why now? What has changed that gives sort of like opens the door for your product now?
I think the main thing is that now most medium companies, especially in Germany, are moving to the cloud. And the cloud comes with an immense complexity. And they now have this situation between, I have a lot of stuff on premise, and I have a lot of stuff in the cloud. And now I need to manage both of them. Before, I had the one IT champion in my company, that's okay, he knows everything. And now I have to also manage this new cloud stuff that usually is not managed by the IT champion from before. So we think that now is the right time for companies to get a holistic view of everything, on-premise and cloud.
We all know how big the step was from moving from on-premise to the cloud for the enterprises, all these medium and small companies. Can you tell a bit more? How is your sales cycle and whom you're addressing in the companies to sell your product?
So we are mainly addressing medium and large companies because they have the IT landscape that has the complexity that is not manageable by one person or in the mind of one person. But we don't have a specific market segment. What we excluded specifically is government institutions and insurances because they always want a lot of standardization and stuff like that. But mainly all other market branches are acceptable for us.
And can you tell how long your sales cycle is in average?
Sales cycle differ depending on the size of the company. So if you're talking about a medium-sized company, it's about 2 to 3 months. And a large company, the likes of BMW, it can take up to 1 to 2 years.
A big round of applause. Dr. Thomas Driesen from Cubalon. The last contestant in the category Enterprise Analytics is shortly up on stage. To accomplish something, you need to find the right person, the right people to turn an idea into something big. Juan Carlos Roldan had the IT expertise and Rafi Vardan was a pro at controlling, and both met in the south of Spain in Sevilla. This is where the idea to build up a startup emerged. In February 2020, Stargazer came into being, the name standing for that view into the future. And I would like to ask the boss of Stargazer up on stage. He is Rafi Vardan from Stargazer. Big round of applause, please. Good luck.
Hi all, great to be here. Great speaking here as the last startup. I would love to tell you a bit more about what we do at Stargazer. Stargazer, as mentioned, is a financial planning analysis solution, but in general tries to change the way how companies are doing their decision. Let me move over to the team and tell you why we are the right team to build that solution. My name is Rafi. As the co-founder and CEO, I bring up this experience working in controlling for 2 different companies, Bayersdorf, Lufthansa Technik. I made a PhD in this topic. How can AI impact the controlling field? My co-founder and CTO, Juan Carlos, made his PhD in computer science, so purely computer scientist, but now slightly loves the topic on controlling himself as well. So imagine you're the CEO, or the CFO even better, of a manufacturing company. How would you basically try to do the right decisions with this kind of fancy, cool, but like overcrowded dashboard? Probably super hard to do that. And what we figured out is that a lot of manufacturing companies, and we have one of our customers here, Katie Higgins, who is the CFO, has that kind of pain points that on one side, she has to bring up this kind of forecast accuracy and report in time, but she needs also to run some cost-saving initiatives. But she's facing different challenges. What kind of challenges? First of all, manufacturing has a specific thing. They have 2 pots of data streams. It's the financial side, but also the operational side. The problem is here, they usually just look on backward data. That means what happened last year or what happened yesterday. The result out of it is she's sitting in the top management meeting and she has actually no clue how to improve the company. She don't have a lot of recommendation in how to improve that. That's why we have built Stargazer, which is a financial analysis solution. And the interesting part, what we basically do, besides being a simulation software and a forecasting solution, is we are giving finance people recommendation. Based on a machine learning approach, Katie can basically run every day in real time various scenarios. She can figure out how her company can become more profitable and how she can basically change the wheel. Manufacturing is super important for us, and especially since we run with this prescriptive analytics because of the amount of data. We have seen that those kind of AI waves right now in manufacturing are coming. Data process mining, we know UiPath and Celonis. We know robotic process automation, ERPs with SAP, for instance, we know exactly. But the financial analytics space is empty. And that's why we said Stargazer needs to move in. This kind of space of financial analytics is where we want to take over the manufacturing part. So Stargazer is transforming the way how companies are doing the decisions. Thank you for speaking here.
One question. So to onboard your clients, what are the requirements the client needs to get ready for the data and use your product?
Yeah. So what we basically need, we have 2 different types of integrating to a customer. On the one side, there's a direct integration, which would mean probably an integration to an ERP system like SAP. What we need is financial data on one side, usually cost center data, and then the production data as well. The other way would be, and that's also what we see with some clients, is when they just have like raw data with Excel, that will be also sufficient. But overall, financial data, and then on the other side, the operational data as well.
And can you say ballpark, how long does it take to onboard a customer?
At the moment, we need 3 to 4 weeks to onboard a client. In the future, we would like to go with an automated approach. That would bring us to an integration less than one day. That requires then obviously a critical mass of particular integrations, for instance, to SAP, so that we can build this kind of API in.
So is there on your roadmap to move from manufacturing to other sectors as well? And if yes, what does it take for you to do it?
Yeah, pretty good question. I mean, first of all, we know manufacturing is huge. Addressing this market will probably take a lot of time, but obviously there's a chance to move slightly to the right and left. I would say in general, that's our roadmap at the moment, is pretty similar markets as manufacturing. Manufacturing as old-fashioned is at the moment for us super interesting. Why? Because those companies has like 2 different data tops. So at the moment, at least for the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to stick in manufacturing, but then slightly potentially also move to another industry as well.
So whilst manufacturing is probably an underserved market segment, IT-wise, software-wise, they're also known to be quite conservative, it's slow moving. So love to understand a bit more. How do you deal with that? How do you overcome that?
Yeah, pretty good question. I mean, when we talk about sales cycles, obviously manufacturing is probably one of the longest, right? So what we see is, hey, 3 to 9 months is something which is super common. But on the other side, manufacturing has those kind of super tight margins. That means our solution can be a game changer to let companies become profitable, and that leads to us more or less also bigger, the price, like bigger checks, I would say in general, when it comes to the business model. So our approach is still entering the CFOs, especially mid-market companies, and basically trying then to provide the benefits there.
Which markets are you active in right now?
So we focus super much on the German market, but as well also on the American market. German with this huge Mittelstand area is like super interesting, but US markets shows also super high signals to find that interesting.
Thank you very much. Rafi Varan from Stargazer.
Thank you.
Now, this was our last question and answer round. I think you were like, well, what's now? What's happening now? So, a big round of applause to our jury. Azadeh Rarai, thank you. Dr. Tanja Emmerling, thank you. And Moritz Zimmermann, see you later. Because they will go backstage now. They will discuss, they will lay down the facts, they will decide who the winner is. So we will give them some time. And you and me, we are going to use our time wisely. I can see him already over there, we are going to ask someone up on stage who has been the winner of Bitkom's Innovators Pitch 2019. Maurice Codir from Study Smarter, and people, believe me, he's going to blow your mind. Please, a big round of applause.
Mic on? The mic
We have to check if the mic is on.
To be honest, I haven't seen that image since ever. I think I changed a little bit. Grew a little beard, but yeah. That was 3 years ago.
Looking good. That was 2019.
It was.
So, yeah, first we have to get up on the chairs. Not that easy. First, before we start, because I know Maurice, for everybody who doesn't know him, Study Smarter is a learning app. Yes. It provides intelligent features such as learning flashcards. You can exchange information with your fellow students. Basically, it can digitize the entire learning process.
You should pitch.
Okay. So, Maurice, briefly introduce yourself and your story. Yes. How did Study Smarter emerge?
Cool. Yeah, I'm Maurice, one of the 4 founders actually of Study Smarter. And we founded Study Smarter out of university ourselves because we observed the issues of digital education ourselves. And now, 4 years in, Study Smarter developed to the fastest growing education technology platform in the world.
The fastest growing education tech companies in the world.
Yeah, so, I mean, should I say a bit about our progress already? Or?
Yeah.
So, maybe, I mean, it's always difficult to summarize 3 years of a high growth startup in a few sentences, but I'll do my best. So the first thing is, if we have a look at the user growth, in the last 3 years, we grew from around 70K users, that's what we pitched last time, to now more than 10 million users. We also hired a few people, so we went from 11 employees back then, now to more than 700 employees. So yes, that is quite expensive. So that's why I'm also very, very happy that we also raised some capital. So we went, back then we had around 300K capital raised from VCs. Now we went to more than 50 million in capital raised. So these are a few things that happened over the last.
These are loads of big
years.
Numbers. So you started. Just let me get that correctly. You started 2019.
Yes.
You had 70,000 users, and now.
Now we are at a little bit more than 10 million users.
A little bit more than 10 million.
Yes.
Wow. So what is the best achievement for you? Is it those numbers, or what is it? Like the day that you remember where you say, this was. I'm going to keep that in my heart.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, to be honest, this will sound a bit cheesy, but it's never the numbers or the punctual achievements that actually stay in the memory. If I go to the office and I have a look at the entire team, and I mean, a little bit of context, it was, in the beginning, was just us 4 in a tiny room at the Technical University of Munich, just thinking, okay, digital education is very shit at the moment. What can we do about it, right? And now just seeing that over 700 people actually share the same vision and are basically intrinsically motivated to shape and revolutionize education, that is the biggest achievement.
You already said, I mean, you are one of the fastest growing education tech companies in the world.
Yes.
Last year in October, correct me if I'm wrong, you raised $31 million.
Yep.
How did you find your investors? I mean, it's always that one big topic.
Yeah, that's especially right now in the market environment right now, it's a big issue, right? But I think, or speaking of last year, we raised 31 million primarily from Silicon Valley investors and New York investors, and we had a lot of inbound interest. Historically speaking, if you have a look at the education technology sector, unfortunately, it was very underfunded and not in the focus of the VC landscape. However, this has changed drastically over the past few years, and I think especially, and also powered by COVID a little bit, it changed, and now education is one of the main pillars of a lot of VCs. So that's also why we had a lot of momentum, and if I remember correctly, we had around 12 term sheets back then, so 12 offers from investors, but it was mainly due to the momentum. And also, I think the VC landscape changed quite a lot, whereas in the past, you always had to be proactive and reach out, etc. Now, if I talk to a lot of VCs, a lot of them have their own data analytics team, and they can actually figure out from their own when a company is actually outperforming in a specific sector, so you will get a lot of inbound interest. Yeah.
Now, many of you might ask yourself, well, Study Smarter is free,
Yes.
so how do you guys earn money?
Yeah, Study Smarter is free. In our opinion, and that was always true or core to our heart, is that digital education should be free. Education, in our opinion, is a human right, and that's why we, in the beginning, we thought, okay, how can we monetize digital education without putting a paywall after 5 seconds and basically limit the core functionalities of Study Smarter. So we came up with a business model that benefits a lot of parties. So what we essentially do now is we bridge the gap between education and employment. So what do I mean by that is we connect learners on our platform that study on our platform with employers in terms of recruiting and employer branding. So you can imagine that every person who studies on Study Smarter, no matter if they're in school, university, or whatever, we know exactly what they study, we know where they're headed, we know where they're at in their academic journey, and also what their interests are. We even use NLP algorithms to kind of identify the main concepts on their PDF slides. And then we leverage this unique data profile to connect them to relevant employers, not for distracting neon-colored ads, but really for the most interesting opportunities. So if I have to summarize our business model, it would be kind of a combination of providing job application volumes of large job platforms such as Indeed or Stepstone or whatever, and also in combination with the quality of active sourcing. So yeah, and that also works. So we went from a couple thousand in revenue to a couple million in revenue, and over 70% of the DAX companies are already clients of Study Smarter. And I think there are a few Study Smarter people around here, so if you're interested to level up yourself, definitely check them out.
Now, when listening to your story, it sounds like everything went really smoothly, just like curve up. What are the, of course, it's not always like that in reality, I know, but what are the biggest challenges you are facing now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the challenges always develop, right? In the beginning, you have very operational challenges, and then if you grow so quickly, you have organizational leadership challenges. So for instance, at the moment, I would say one of the biggest challenges is personal development and leadership development in our company, because we grew so quickly and we grew so much that we have people who previously were not in the leadership position are suddenly in a leadership position, right? And then you have to make sure both that you from the founding team, but also your leadership team doesn't become the bottleneck for the growth of your company. So I think personal development is definitely on our priority list, very at the top. And second, we're currently expanding to the UK, France, Spain, and Portugal with our B2B business model, and just having like firsthand this complexity of actually a multinational organization, that's quite challenging and something that is not quite clear when you found a startup in the beginning.
You've already said you're expanding. Next steps, maybe any secrets you wanna get us into? You wanna inform us about? What are the next goals?
Next goals. I mean, 3 years ago, when I stood at this very stage, we operated in Germany alone. Within the within the last 12 months, we expanded to more than 25 countries, mainly in Western Europe, Brazil, UK, US, Canada, etc. And right now, I think there are no secrets, really. We are trying to make digital education accessible across the entire world, but do have our core markets, such as the US, such as the UK, France, Spain, etc., where we will expand into. And those markets can be already excited about our new solutions.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just quickly going to check. Mm-hmm. How is the jury doing? Do they still need like 2-3 minutes? They're good, they're fine? Okay, then the last question to you, Maurice Coudier. We're eager to know, because you've been so successful with Study Smarter. It's a frequently asked question, of course, but if you would have to give other founders like an advice, something where you say that might work for everyone, I would tell you this. What is it?
I think my advice, and I had to learn this personally, is really try to push your ego aside if you do the decision making. Especially if you're a founder in the early stages, the startup is your baby, right? So you have a lot of buy-in, you are very emotional with decision making, etc. But the sooner you push your ego aside and the sooner you become data-driven in your decision making and consult with experts, also hire the experts sooner than later and don't be greedy, the more successful you become. So really try to push your ego aside, try to neglect your personal opinion, because your personal opinion at the end of the day doesn't matter. It's the users that matter, it's the data that matter, and experts in the field that give you the insights.
Thank you very much. Maurice Coudier from Study Smarter. Big round of applause. Thank you very much. Winner of Bitcoin's Innovators Pitch 2019, Maurice Coudier, Study Smarter. So I have received signs, thumbs up, which means that the jury has decided who the winner is. So I would please ask the entire jury in the category Cybersecurity up on stage. Stefan Henke, Susanne Demel, Dr. Simon Vogt, and the pitches, Deep Sign, Psoido, and Quantum Optics. Everybody up on stage, please. Keep that secret for now. Good. So we have heard some brilliant startups here at Bitcoin's Innovators Pitch. Yeah. And I don't know who the winner is, but Stefan Henke does, so please.
So it has really not been an easy decision-making process. We liked all three solutions, but there can be only one winner. And the winner is Psoido.
So now again, a large round of applause, a big round of applause. Please, the winner, Psoido, of this year's Innovators Pitch. And maybe you want to say a couple of words.
Yeah, thank my parents and my brother. No, not. No, thank you, because this was really exciting after 2 years not being on stage. And I studied music in my first life. So it's very good to be on stage and then to be the winner. So that's a good day. So nice to meet you. See you next. Thank you.
Now for the photo, please hold up the check and get all together. We need a picture, otherwise we forget. Lovely, thanks a lot. And now you can move a couple of steps to the side, and we're going to go to the next category. So, in the category Enterprise Analytics, I would like to ask the entire jury up on stage and all startups that have pitched on this stage. This is awesome. Now it's getting nice and cozy up here. You know, was it a tough decision?
Of course it was. I mean, we really enjoyed all the three pitches, and we quite had to discuss which startup to pick, but at the end we all agreed and we picked a winner.
So, everybody ready to hear who the winner is? Let's go.
On the Enterprise Analytics pitch, the winner is Stargazer. Congratulations.
second place would be Cubalon. And the last but not least is Formation. Big round of applause for all of them.
And now we would like to hear a couple of words. Rafi Varan from Stargazer.
Yeah, passt so. Super excited. Thank you very much for the jury, but also thank you very much for the entire organization team. Great event, and honestly, I have to say those other two were especially also amazing for me. Also, learning more about different technology in the enterprise analytics was crazy. Good to hear. Also, congrats to the other three in the cybersecurity, our neighbors. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the prize. Super happy.
Thanks for taking part. Please hold up those checks for the photo, both of you. And a big round of applause, please, for all the startups that have pitched today, for our lovely jury members. Bitcoin's Innovators Pitch 2022. Thank you very much.